Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring something really appealing, how to essentially invite nature right into your living room.
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept.
Our mission for you is to figure out how to create that kind of space, refreshing, cozy, but also, visually stunning, a real natural oasis at home.
And we've looked at some pretty innovative design ideas. It's not just about putting a plant in the corner.
Definitely not. It's about blurring those lines,
Yeah.
between inside and outside. Picture a living room where the garden just flows in, sunlight everywhere, organic harmony.
That harmony is key. It's a fundamental shift in thinking, really. Moving beyond just decoration.
How so?
Well, the designs we've seen integrate nature through the actual architecture, the materials. It's about creating an experience of connection.
An experience, right, not just looking at it.
Exactly. The sources kept coming back to this idea of an effortless flow, like stepping into the living room is almost stepping into the garden itself.
Okay, so how do you start creating that flow architecturally?
Well, a big one that came up repeatedly is the use of expansive doors and windows,
Yeah.
floor to ceiling if possible, preferably wood.
Right, those huge openings. It's not just for the view, is it?
No, it's more than that. It creates this powerful visual link, obviously,
Yeah.
but also a physical one. It makes the room feel like an extension of the outdoors.
Like the living room and garden are having a conversation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And things like sliding or folding door systems add that flexibility. You can literally open up the whole wall when the weather's nice.
Maximum fresh air, maximum light. Makes sense.
And those big glass areas, they act like picture frames, don't they? The garden becomes this dynamic piece of art right there in your room.
Constantly changing.
Yeah. And then you layer in the materials, the transition gets even more interesting there.
What kind of materials are we talking about?
A common pairing we saw was concrete and wood.
Oh, interesting. That sounds like quite a contrast.
It is, but it works beautifully. The concrete gives you that solid, grounded feeling, maybe a bit industrial even, right? But then the wood brings in warmth, texture, that organic quality. It's a really nice balance.
I can picture that sturdy versus organic thing. Does that carry through to the furniture too?
Absolutely. The designs often show this deliberate mix. You might have, say, a really plush, comfy designer sofa.
Inviting.
Exactly. But paired with maybe some sleeker, more contemporary chairs. It's about balancing comfort with that clean, modern aesthetic.
And the colors. What sort of palettes support this?
Very nature-inspired. Think sage greens, warm beiges, maybe some deep emerald accents, tones that feel grounding and, inherently cozy.
It's about evoking that feeling, isn't it? Not just how it looks.
Totally. And the textures are huge for that. Soft fabrics, things with a real tactile quality. They make you want to relax, connect with the space physically.
Touch is important.
Very. And think about walls. You could have smooth, light finishes to bounce the light around, make it feel airy.
Sweetens it up.
Or you could introduce something like a rugged concrete texture that has a whole different kind of visual interest, like counterpoint.
Creates depth. And what about wood accents?
Yeah, those are great for adding rhythm, maybe some paneling, or even just decorative objects. It stops the space feeling too flat or uniform.
I like the idea of a statement wall, but subtle, like a faint geometric pattern, adds intrigue without shouting,
Right. Keeps the calm feeling. But the common thread, always, is the dominance of natural materials. Wood, stone, natural fibers.
It's that constant reference back to the outdoors.
It is. And it's multisensory. The look of the wood grain, the feel of a woven basket, it's richer than just visual. All these different elements working together.
Okay, so let's talk greenery. How does that integrate beyond just, a few pots?
Well, those big doors and windows we mentioned, they frame the garden beautifully. It becomes part of the interior view.
Like living art.
Exactly. And one really striking idea was vertical gardens, maybe flanking a doorway. Imagine that. A living, breathing entrance.
Wow, yeah, that's a statement.
And then, of course, you have your more traditional potted plants, leafy ones in nice ceramic pots, adding pops of color, freshness. The key is the garden isn't an afterthought. It's integral,
It's part of the room's atmosphere.
fundamentally.
Hmm.
And think about the types of plants. Cascading foliage can soften architectural lines. Taller plants add height, maybe a sense of enclosure within the openness.
Interesting. And you mentioned the colors mirroring nature.
Yeah, often the room's base palette, those soft greens, earthy browns, muted neutrals, provides this seamless backdrop.
Yeah.
Then the plants themselves bring in the more vibrant accents.
And the textures again. A rough basket, a smooth pot, a wooden surface.
It's that interplay, that natural contrast that feels so right.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Light and shadow. How does that play into this?
Oh, this is where the space really comes alive.
Yeah.
The way natural light hits all those different textures.
Mm.
It's kind of mesmerizing.
You see the weave in the fabric, the grain in the wood.
Exactly. And the shadows. As the sun moves, the shadows dance across the room. It creates this constant, subtle movement. The room never feels static.
It feels dynamic.
Yeah.
And that layering of contrasts, wood and concrete, soft fabrics and hard surfaces, that enhances the light play, right?
Definitely. It gives the light more to interact with. And this isn't just about daytime.
Ah, good point. What about evening?
The sources really emphasized thoughtful, ambient lighting. Things like pendant lights with natural fiber shades, maybe some wooden floor lamps. The goal is to mimic that warm, organic glow of sunset.
Creates that cozy, inviting feel after dark.
Exactly. It's about maintaining that connection to natural rhythms.
So with all these elements, materials, light, plants, how does furniture fit in? How do you arrange it?
It requires that same careful balance we talked about. You want pieces that feel curated, intentional, but also sort of organically placed.
Not too rigid.
Right. Each piece needs to complement the space, add comfort, add character. Low-profile sofas often work well, maybe alongside more structured chairs. Create a nice dialogue.
And the arrangement.
Should feel casual, yet purposeful. You want to encourage conversation, connection, make it easy for people to interact.
And take advantage of the view, presumably.
Absolutely key. Seating should really maximize those garden views. The whole flow of the room should feel intuitive, guided by the architecture and where the plants are placed.
And things like coffee tables.
Keep them low profile. Functional, yes, but you don't want them blocking those crucial sight lines to the outside.
Right, maintain the connection. It sounds like the goal is intentional comfort.
I think that's a great way to put it. And when it all comes together, the materials, the colors, the light, the textures, it creates this undeniable sense of peace.
Tranquility.
Exactly, that's the word.
And those soft, neutral tones dominating, but with deeper accents for warmth. That helps create that feeling.
It does. And the way those colors shift slightly with the changing light throughout the day enhances the calm. But texture is just so crucial again.
The rough wood, the smooth upholstery.
It invites you to touch, to engage physically. And then you add things like plush throws, nice cushions. That's the cozy factor. Adds personality too.
Artistic flair, even.
Right. And it's a dynamic space, remember. The garden outside is constantly changing with the light, with the seasons. It's a living artwork.
And the vertical gardens with climbing plants, they add their own patterns.
Yeah. And the designs we saw often had this feeling of intentional absence. Not cluttered, no unnecessary things like, huge fireplaces if they don't fit, or overly visible tech.
Enhances the openness, makes it feel deliberate.
Everything feels chosen. And you can really picture how the atmosphere shifts. That golden afternoon light hitting everything.
Highlighting the textures, making colors glow.
Yeah, and the garden outside maybe casting dappled shadows inside. It's like the room is breathing with nature.
And then evening comes, soft lighting. It transforms into this cozy retreat.
It really underscores that this is more than just looks. It's about creating an immersive environment. Blurring those indoor-outdoor lines for well-being.
For calmness, connection.
Yes. That feeling of being connected to the natural world is restorative.
And the practicalities support that too, like maximizing natural light for our mood and rhythms.
Absolutely. Flooding the room with daylight is key. And using sheer curtains, great idea, diffuses the light beautifully, but you still get the view.
Doesn't block it. And that idea about flooring continuity, using similar materials inside and out.
Such a smart design trick. It visually connects the spaces, makes the transition seamless. Natural stone, maybe warm wood. It really unifies everything.
And it brings those outdoor materials, reclaimed wood, concrete, stone, woven stuff right inside, creating that multi-sensory thing.
It all resonates. Vertical gardens as living art. Maybe even a small indoor fountain for that soothing sound of water.
Enhances the tranquility.
And don't forget the details. Ceramic vases, wooden sculptures. Those little touches echo the theme. Add character.
And sustainability comes into play here too, right? Choosing eco-conscious furniture and fabrics.
It feels like a natural fit, doesn't it? If you're embracing nature in the design, using sustainable materials makes perfect sense.
And the idea of flexibility, adding more textiles in winter maybe. Adapting to the seasons?
Yeah, it's not static. The space evolves. So really it's a lifestyle choice. Embracing light, organic materials, greenery, creating a true sanctuary.
A space that genuinely nurtures you.
Exactly. Imagine ending your day there, feeling that peace, that connection, right in your own home.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear this living room idea is way more than just aesthetics. It's an experience.
Yeah,
Modern comfort meeting timeless serenity.
it truly is.
It's about making your living space a personal haven, a constant reminder of the beauty you get when you blend indoor comfort with the vitality of nature.
Well said.
And maybe a final thought for you to consider. How could incorporating even just a few natural elements shift your daily experience, your well-being in your own space? Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us.
If you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Interior Blockchain Studio for more expert design ideas, trends, and creative inspiration. Your support helps us bring you even more amazing content, so make sure to turn on notifications and stay updated with our latest uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.